behalf of everyone here at Brookings, I want to welcome you to the first Brookings Debate.
Tonight, we're going to be debating one of the most important and divisive issues in American politics and foreign policy today about whether the U.S. should put boots on the ground to fight ISIS.
If we're not willing to take military action in order to improve the situation on the ground, then that means we don't have vital interests that we really care about, or it means that somehow we think that if we don't take action, that events are going to just sort themselves out.
Here's the quote that I just heard. If we don't take military action, then we don't have vital interests. Now, that presupposes that the only way to advance your interests is through military action. That's ridiculous.
And the Syria piece of this is so difficult that we have to get progress and momentum going in Iraq. So I think we can do that with roughly 2 to 3 times the number of people. And as I've said, being more forward, using air power as we are already.
Of course, various people in Washington, a lot of them named Mike, will tell you that now we understand the mistakes of the past, that now we know how to create an inclusive political order in Iraq and Syria, that the problem was the stupidity of the Bush administration, the Obama administration. Well, I say buyer beware.
We have not suffered attacks on the homeland from ISIL or al-Qaeda in any substantial size or magnitude since 9/11, but I don't take that as a given indefinitely. I think we've gotten lucky a few times.
Mike might say, well, you know, maybe ISIS will conquer Libya and Yemen and Saudi Arabia, and maybe there will be an attack next year in the United States sponsored by them. I think, you know, I can't 100% rule these things out. But analytically, it's not likely.
George W. Bush has come out on the record saying this. So after the entire fiasco in Iraq with the Iraq War, how can we trust his judgment or yours?
You can trust my judgment because we had very significant experience and we learned from our mistakes in Iraq. And as I said in my opening comments, we learned from the surge. The surge is a tremendous success.
The surge didn't win anything. It bought time. It helped reduce violence, but it created no political reconciliation, and so was just biding time.
Fundamentally, 3/4 of the country is okay. What we need to do now is help the Iraqis take that other 1/4 back. The strategy that we've been following for the last year plus, it worked pretty well at first. It has petered out. It is not working now. We need to do somewhat more. There is a definable path ahead that's specific and limited, and we should get on with it.
I appreciate Mike's efforts, you know, not to make the same old mistakes and to make, you know, new mistakes.
America is empirically terrible at influencing political stability in the Middle East with the blunt force of American military power. That's the lesson of the last 15 years.
That we don't have the political engineering capacity to really create the political reconciliation that is necessary, and we have to live with that. And I think that this gets to one of the critical points that we've all hit on, which is the question of our allies.
There's a conversation that doesn't take place in Tehran when they look at, or in Moscow, when they look at what's going on in Syria. They don't say, we don't have the capacity to influence what's happening. We can absolutely influence the agenda of our allies.
We've got to shift this conversation to all of the other ways in which we can conduct ourselves, whether it be supporting economic development in at-risk regions or starting to actually talk the talk and walk the walk when it comes to the values we preach around the world.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. The polls are closed, so I'd like to ask the audience and the panelists to stay in your seats while we're tabulating the votes, and I will be back with the envelope shortly.